Alright, so we've taken care of Billy's first insight, and we're clearly showing here that cancellation rates and average daily rates follow the same seasonality. So it's time to move on to the next pivot table. Let me get this out of the way. And let's see what we've got here. So we're looking at revenue and revenue loss by month, and the story is that we're reaching worrying figures in July and August due to this seasonality. So how do we communicate this? Well, let's insert a pivot chart and look at our options. Now we are looking at dates, so we could try something like a line or an area chart, but to be honest, these slopes kind of make it hard to make out the actual values in each month. They do a great job showing the trend, but I really want to be able to pinpoint the values for July and August down here. So let's go with a column chart instead. Let's press OK. Let's bring it down here. And I'll admit that it looks terrible now, but let's get to work on the formatting here. Let's start by getting rid of these field buttons. Let's get rid of the shape outline, and we will get rid of the grid lines this time. Move my legend to the top. And let's move the x-axis down here as well. So select that, right click, go to format the axis, and in the labels drop down, let's move the label position to low, and I'm going to make it a little bit bigger as well. Now for the columns themselves, let's go to edit these. We want these series to have a 100% overlap, and that way we can really compare and contrast the revenue and revenue loss for each month. And for the gap width, as you very much know by now, I usually like an 85% gap width on my columns, but I'm actually going to go a little bit narrower now. Let's try something like a 40%. And I'm doing this because by bringing the bars closer to each other, it generates a greater sense of trend, but it still maintains the independent columns that we can use for direct comparisons. So now let's remove this y-axis, and let's replace it with data labels instead. Let's add these, make them bold and bigger, and let's add some custom number formatting here. Let's just turn this into thousands. Custom. We know we need a comma to get rid of 3 digits. And now let's just add a K. Press add. And now let's just do the same for our revenue loss. Add data labels. Bold. Bigger. And let's change the number format here. Alright, so that's looking great. We get a really good sense of the contrast between how much we're making and how much we're losing out on by month. But I really want to drive the focus between these 2 months here. After all, we're losing out on more money in August than we're making in any month except for July and August. So I'm going to remove the rest of my data labels except for these 2. We'll select them one by one and delete. And let's do the same with the colors. So I'm going to select the entire series, change the fill to a much lighter orange, and then to select these 2 and make it the regular orange. And I'm going to change the color on these as well to a little bit of a darker blue, honestly just because I like it a little bit better. But if we take a look at our chart now, it is communicating this a bit more clearly, but to really drive it home, let's make this point directly right here in our chart. So I'm going to select it, and in format, add a shape here. I'm just going to point to these columns here. Let's make this orange and add an arrow on the left. And now let's just add a text box that lets the user know that there's around 1 million lost in July and August. And I'm going to specify the year as well, so say 2016, just so that the end user does know that we have filtered from here down to just 2016 here. So let's select this, whoops, make it bold, make it bigger to really pop. Let me just adjust the size here. And there we go. We can't really tell this story any better than that.